Tony Catalina, Gig'Em 247, joins me inside the Charles Schwab studio. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
What's the week been like for you?
Just getting ready for baseball, right? I mean, doing some stuff football related on the back end. There's always something football related, especially with official visits coming up and people coming into town. But, predominantly my time has been spent on getting ready for this important baseball weekend.
I am sad that baseball took all their momentum and threw it into a vault and buried it in cement and then threw it in the bottom of the ocean. Because people are fired up. They're going to be a national seed, maybe 4 in the country at one point. They beat Mississippi State, and that series was awesome. That series was intense. The rally, this game 3 alone, but I feel like there's no momentum. I don't feel like there's any heat. The SEC tournament appearance, what was that?
Yeah.
A complete and utter no-show on every possible level. And then, they end up with the 12, which is wrong and confusing, but still it is what it is. Yeah. I don't know, man. Where's the momentum?
I think they'll find it from the players that are coming back. And I think understanding, we had talked about it last week, that, coming out of the SEC tournament and trying to finally win some games and trying to solidify yourself in the top 8 was important and something that we thought they should do. But ultimately, when, they didn't play Nico and they said Aiden Sims wasn't going to pitch in it, you kind of understood how they were handling it, where they were potentially okay with losing the battle to try to win the war here. And so, this is the result of that. Now, obviously, I don't think anybody thought it would be, no runs scored and they get beat and it wasn't even competitive.
Hits?
Yeah, it wasn't even competitive ultimately. But to Early's credit, and he did mention it when we talked to him after they get selected on Monday, this team responds to losses, right? And I think this is probably the worst loss they had all year. Whether they felt like it was a do-or-die situation or not, they have responded really well, and what better time to do that than, in a win-or-go-home type of situation.
But don't great teams not respond? Aren't they the ones that set the pace? Aren't they the ones you respond to?
Sure.
That's what winning teams do.
Sure. But Auburn, to their credit, is one of the best teams in the country. Obviously a national seed, somebody who, could very well win the whole thing, right? So if you're not going in there with the absolute fire under your seat to go ahead and win a game, and Auburn's just that talented, that's sometimes what it looks like. And I think ultimately this team will forget what happened in the SEC if they go out there and they have a smooth sail through the regional, get themselves in a super regional. They really won't talk about it. But hey, we're paid to talk about these things, and if they don't, and they go out there and they're sluggish in the regional and maybe don't make it through because the USC is tough or Texas State's tough, then we're gonna have questions again, and I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Having trouble finding the heat for this thing.
Ultimately, I think the 12th man will find that heat, right? I think I've heard a lot. I haven't been here for one, right? I haven't been here for a regional or super regional. I've heard what the playoff baseball looks like at Bluebell Park, and I'm excited for it because I think, to your point, I think these fans will be ready to rock. I know what Aggie Alley will look like. I understand what this stadium is capable of, and if they're not ready to go, I think it would take one quick pan around the ballpark to get the energy they need.
In my life as an Aggie sports fan, and I started fall of 87, and I am someone who has ventured to many, 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 many different sports too, and many, many different sporting events at that time. Aggie baseball crowds litter my top 10, top 20 all time. When Olsen, not Blue Bills, when Olsen Magic is flowing, Aggie baseball crowd is as good as anything gets at Texas A&M.
Sure.
It is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to that point, when I was in between situations, when I went from the Statesman to Gig'Em 247, I had like 2 or 3 days off on a weekend that I haven't had in like 2.5 years, right? So my family was actually in town, and they wanted to go see what the baseball stadium was like. So, even on a day I wasn't getting paid or I wasn't working, I still went to Olsen, show my family the crowd. I mean, the fans are different, right? Like, if you talk about what makes Texas A&M so special in these athletic programs, it's the fans. So taking my family to Olsen, showing them what Bluebell Park looks like. And so, yes, I'm there with you. For me, like, I haven't, last year, my first year covering the team, didn't go the way anybody had thought it would. But, I mean, you just know what a special night in Bluebell Park looks like. And so I had to kind of impart that wisdom to them.
So I'm going to ask you some of the basic questions. Did A&M get screwed with the 12th seed?
Yeah, of course. I think anybody understands that. I mean, we've been told all this time that what you do in the regular season matters most, and what you do in the SEC tournament doesn't really carry nearly as much weight. a la last year where they went on a run and it ultimately wasn't for anything, right? They didn't make it. They didn't help their position at all. They still got bounced, didn't make it at all. This year, they lose one game and all of a sudden they're off the 8-9 line to all the way down to 12. A little ridiculous. I think everybody understands that, but
we're basing this based upon a website's projections. We're basing this. The committee only releases one set of rankings. So when we say they got bumped from 8, that's based on
people that get paid more than me to figure these things out, right?
Yeah. Monday, visiting with another college baseball guy, he kind of put that out there because I said, look, okay, I thought A&M lost a national seed when they lost Auburn.
Yeah,
I thought they needed a win.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think that 12 is correct, but what is correct? Have you thought about that? Have you done any math on that?
Sure.
What do you think they should be?
I would have been absolutely no qualms about it if they were 9 or 10. None.
Okay.
None of that. I think 12 is. I thought when I saw Texas at 6.
I think you are pretty similar, by the way.
Probably, yeah. When I saw Texas at 6, I said, "Here we go. They're gonna be 11."
Same thing.
And I said we were watching in the Kyle Field Media Center with other media people, and I said, "Here we go. I'm gonna start writing it up as 11," and they didn't. And I'm like, now this is looking a little funky, right? Because I can understand 11 to try.
They're really a 10. But the committee's going to fudge it for matchups, and we know that.
Yeah.
So they get screwed into an 11 just to play Texas, and it all makes sense.
Sure.
But then 12, and I can't do the math on that.
And it doesn't make sense. And I think it's funny because, I don't know if you played it already early speaking to us on Monday.
Did.
But I don't know if his tonality shows what the face showed. Because he was visibly, at least in my opinion, annoyed by the fact they were 12. He's like, hey, they got a job to do. I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know if I necessarily agree. But, hey, it is what it is. And ultimately, I think that's how they feel, right? I think you scratch your head a little bit, but ultimately you got to go out there and try to beat a USC team and a Texas State team that's tough and Lamar, So you got to go out there and do it. But, yes, I don't think they got it correct.
They shouldn't have been a 12. They should have been a 10. And probably got screwed into 11 to play Texas. And none of that happened. And what a regional looks like when you're a 10 versus a 12 is actually exponentially different too.
Right.
Because the 2 seeding was awful by the committee across the board. It wasn't just A&M got too tough of a 2.
Yeah.
But when you get out of those bottom 4 hosts, your 2s are exponentially easier.
Sure.
You can't get all the SEC 2s. So A&M got screwed into USC because they put at 12. Mm-hmm. Because they couldn't. They're not going to get Tennessee as a 2. They're not going to get Arkansas as a 2. They had to get USC.
Right.
Everyone's like, oh, at 12, how did you get the number 1 2? Because you can't get the SEC 2s.
Right.
There's a lot that happened as the butterfly effect of one thing the committee decided, and it's putting A&M at 12.
Yeah, and you even go down deeper in the rabbit hole. You look at a team like Mercer, right? Like how every metric that we've ever looked at, who has ever been a bookmark, and this is how it's done, you understand that things change, things are fluid, but every metric is lined up for this team to be a tournament team, and then they don't make it. So now you put everything in the crosshairs of what else are they fudging? What else is not exactly how we thought it was? Now you got to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
How does Mercer not end up in the tournament?
It doesn't make sense to
There is 8 other teams that should not be in the tournament before Mercer's out.
And so then
including and especially Kentucky, but still.
So when you sit here and we can unbiasedly say we think that Texas A&M is too low, and then you look at another team like Mercer and you're like, if we take a fine-tooth comb here, we might find some more discrepancies, and then you look at the whole process and say, wait a minute, this kind of looks a little funky.
It's only 2 spots, but a lot of things come from those 2 spots. For me, you said 9. I say 10. We're even arguing about that. Not arguing.
Sure.
But saying maybe a 1 spot. They're not a national seed. Do you disagree or give it
No,
that?
I don't.
There's still plenty of people arguing they should have been a national seed.
There's people can have that conversation. I think it was tough to lose 2 out of your last 3 series and then scrap to Mississippi State and say, hey, we're still one of the 8 best teams in the country. Right? Like I think the way they kind of went at the end of the year was, kind of a slip up a little bit. It kind of put them out of the 8 range for me. Now, if they won in the SEC tournament and they went on a little bit of a run and they found themselves in the championship game, then we can have that conversation.
Even if you beat Auburn, 1 game, you beat another number 1 seed who, if Auburn loses to A&M, I don't think they lose their 4 seed and go to 9 or 10. They're top 8 themselves.
Right.
That 1 win.
That's what I'm saying.
Is enough to cement your resume.
Well, and it's funny because you go into this year understanding, or at least thinking you understand, that the conference tournaments don't carry that much weight. But then you say, okay, you lose the first one, and now you get all these slid down to 12.
I know.
So Now you maybe move forward early in an honest moment later when, in the offseason, be like, hey, like, how do you handle the SEC tournament now? Because do you think that might have been a huge difference? But until this point, maybe the data point showed it probably wasn't, So you try to get healthy. You try to get your ace healthy. You try to get your third baseman healthy. And who knows if Hakopian's in the field now. They're trying to go out there at 100%. So he did what he had to do. And if they win this weekend, I think we can kind of forget about it.
Okay, but hold on now. Let me just, again, I like that. But if he doesn't win the Super Regional, don't you have to put some blame for not playing to try and host? For forcing yourself on the road?
Well,
because you say this weekend, he made a 2-weekend decision.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I agree. I think that's where the conversation becomes, an honest one or where do we reassess? Because all season long, he wasn't just talking game or politics. He really believed he was one of the 8 best teams in the country, right? And I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree heading into the final month of the regular season. Then you lose 2 series and you got to scrap to Mississippi State and how important that was. If they lose to Mississippi State, what are we talking about? 15th, 16th? Are we talking about, how?
Oh, fascinating question.
Right?
If they lose that series and they're already at 12, does losing the series put them at, and I get 15,
Right.
16?
So
That's so stupid, but yes.
You finished the season 0-3 in your series, and so it's a totally different conversation. I think leading up into that little bit of a skid, they were comfortably one of the 8 best teams in the country.
I thought they were like at 4 or 5 actually, until they hit the skid.
So
the last month, month.
It's fascinating, right? And I think in his mind, in his heart of heart, the resume was good enough. I mean, you win the amount of games they did in conference play, and you find a way to be as good as they were all season long consistently. And their non-con, they were great. So for me, it's tough.
Top 6 teams in the SEC. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 are national seats.
Yeah, not 3.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
That's intriguing.
But you understand that because they got guys that do the analytics and look at the metrics and probably forecasted all of this out to make these decisions. They're probably all sitting in that building at Bluebell going, I feel good about our spot. And then it comes to it and you're like, wait a minute. And that's why Early has a little bit of gnarl on his face when he talks to us.
Okay, this is an expression that transcends baseball. Never leave it in the hands of the committee.
Sure.
Don't feel good about it. Do something about
Absolutely.
it. Never leave it in the hands of the committee.
Yeah, but let me ask you this too, because we can play devil's advocate. We can do hypotheticals all year. They go out there and they go for the gusto in the SEC tournament. They play Nico a little earlier. He gets hurt. They pitch Aiden. His arm's not right. All of a sudden, now you got your best players, your starters, and then you go, "Why are you doing it for the SEC tournament?"
I do not believe in doing anything that compromises the NCAA tournament in any sport.
Right.
Fair. I will state that right now.
Sure. And I think
anything.
That's what he was thinking, right?
That's all that matters.
Yep.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Being very honest.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think when I look at it in that lens, I understand why he did. Did I think he thought this team that was one of the best hitting teams in the country would throw up a stinker in that game? I don't think they thought that was possible, right? Like, I think he thought, and I agree with him, that their offense would be good enough to give him a fighter's puncher's chance, no matter who they had out there, because they had shown that. So, is it tough to have one of your worst outings of the season in a game that's seems to have a lot more implications than people thought? Yeah, that's tough, but they have a chance to go out and kind of wipe the stink clean here, but they got to go and do it.
Text message from Matt in College Station. By the way, anybody can text me. I would recommend texting Tony because he's here and take advantage of the opportunity. Text 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. I'll see what you have to say inside the Texas Mobile and Loop Express inbox. Matt in College Station said the committee used ChatGPT to determine the regionals.
I mean, the way that the inaccuracies are there, you may be right.
Because, folks, we're fixating on A&M because that's what he does for Gig'Em 247. It's what I talk about every day. But honestly, there's about 7 teams from what I've been picking up on that make 0 sense. It's not just an A&M thing.
Sure.
This committee made some serious mistakes. That's all.
I mean, I was, not to bring it back to them again, but I was so fascinated by I forgot who it was, but somebody within the Mercer organization. It was like, hey, the conversation started to change real quick over the course of the weekend. It was like, hey, you're in, like, I wouldn't worry about it, to I'm going to do what I can, but I'm one person, to they go silent on him. It's like, wait a minute. Like, this is, I mean, things are changing rapidly.
Every mistake pushed Mercer further out.
Right. Yeah.
And again, so mistake number 1, A&M's not a 12. Mistake number 2, Mercer, They might be the only team in the history that was sub 30 RPI that didn't get in.
Yeah.
Because sub 40 is a lock.
It's a lock.
And Kentucky's 37, and I just said that, but there's no way in hell Kentucky's it. Mercer's 27. They're out. That's your first three right there.
Right.
Just large as day. All three of those are horrific mistakes.
Absolutely.
So
You hate when becomes the conversation, right? Like you hate where, and nobody's gonna be perfectly happy, and not every decision's gonna be great, but when there's some glaring holes and we got to spend a whole segment talking about it, there's some real discrepancies there.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We're just getting started. It is the Louis Bellina Show with Tony Catalina of the Gig'Em 247. Jordy, I did that. I usually look at you like, you got to do it. No, I remember this time. With me inside the Charles Schwab studio. In uncertain times, Charles Schwab remains invested in their clients by offering personalized guidance and clarity. And it's personalized because we got Mark Sim right here in College Station. Walk into the office, shake a hand, look them in the eye, have a conversation. Personalized guidance and clarity. Get answers to your questions. Learn more at schwab.com/College Station.
Texas A&M's home for champions with March Madness, the Super Bowl, and the College World Series. The Zone. 11:50 a.m. and 93.7 FM.
Tony and I, during the timeout, we're talking, and Tony didn't know this, but in the first hour, Tony, I was talking about that. It's about the rise of the Big Ten, but also how the SEC is so busy getting rid of everything that made it unique. The SEC is so busy. No, we don't, not 8 games. We're going to go to 9. And that was Sankey being outplayed by the Big Ten. You go to 9? Yeah, we'll do 16. We go to 9? No, we don't really want to do that. But the SEC, for about almost 20 years, somewhere in the 15-20 range, was the most elite conference in the history of athletics, anytime.
Yeah.
And why? How come every year the SEC, and they just announced no cupcake weekend? And I know that's not the defining moment, but why is the SEC so busy getting rid of everything that made it unique and everything that gave it its identity, but just the formula that equaled its dominance?
It's a great question, and it's not an easy answer. Like you said, you got a stranglehold on something, and you do it so well, and it's so revered and so respected, and you get to say the slogan like it means more. It just means more, and you do all this. And right now, you turn around and you blink, and like the Big Ten is gaining ground at a rapid pace. We were just talking about, they got football and basketball championships, and if UCLA runs the table, they're going to have the big three for all 3 of them. So it's just a really weird time, and it seems like, to your point, like you were talking about, all self-destructing a little bit here, right? There's no reason to. You got to make things harder for yourself to be complacent for other people to kind of
just playing into other people's. Like,
that's it.
Did the 80s vote to get rid of Cupcake Weekend because they were just tired of other people poking and making fun of them?
It's just not. There had to be some type of conversations, like you said. At some point, you get played, right? Like, oh, we're going to do this.
That's what happened in 8-9. That's what happened in 8-9.
With the promise that this is coming if you guys work in good faith here, and then they put pull the wool over your eyes. The next thing you know, we're sitting here, and I said to you, the analogy I use is A&M's got his back against the ropes, and Big Ten is the one that's swinging on them. So you just got to figure out a way to keep the stranglehold, because it's going to be really hard to talk about. And I heard Elko and others people talking about the NFLs get the most people drafted, and so the SEC is still the most talented, and I don't disagree with that. Doesn't mean the SEC's got the best teams in the country anymore right now, and so that stranglehold is losing grip real quick.
Well, the last 3 in football last 3 in football are all Big Ten. So you might have the best teams, plural, but you don't have the best team.
Well, you might have the best homegrown talent, right? But it's an even playing field where kids from down here can go play for Big Ten schools and win championships and still get drafted. So per capita, you're pulling talent out of the Southeast, but it doesn't mean that they're all necessarily staying in the SEC and that these teams are, because Big Ten is doing exactly the same stuff. It's an even playing field, and they continue to win across the board here.
I will say, I do need to put this in there. Adding a UCLA to help them out in baseball,
sure.
But the other 2 are homegrown Big Tens. Indiana, Michigan. That's as Big Ten as it gets.
Well, SEC was like, hey, we're going to add Texas, we're going to add Oklahoma, and I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think SEC thought they had a trump card as well.
By adding the West Coast, they shored up. Okay, they're now powerful in these Olympic sports that they were not before. But we know it's about the big three. It's about sports that are on TV. It's about
revenue sports.
Yes, which be careful because baseball's not really a revenue sport.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're the big three. They're in the big three.
Big three.
You know?
Right.
And it was brilliant for them to add the West Coast element. Those teams add what they didn't have. They really complimented themselves by adding the Pac-12 and the ones they did.
And so every good move.
The SEC did not build by adding Texas OU. They added brand names. They did. I mean, but they didn't build.
No, you're right.
They didn't expand.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to disagree, right? It's hard to disagree. I mean, I'm a results-based guy, right? At the end of the day, Big Ten, every move they've made looks like gold right now. Right? Everything they've done to this point has seemed to work out, and they got SEC, for a lack of a better phrase, like kind of bending the knee a little bit, right? Hey, we'll get rid of the cupcake games. We'll go to 9 if you guys promise this. And they're like, no. We'll do what we want, when we want, at our time, at our pace. And meanwhile, we're going to win every championship known to man. So, hey, I mean, like I said, it's a blinking red light right now. The SEC's got to figure it out. I still have tremendous respect. I still look at it as the best conference in football, best conference in sports, best talent in the country. We'll see what happens moving forward, though.
I will say, and I'm not going to harp on, maybe every day, I don't know, we'll see. But secede from the union, grab the Big 12, add about 2 more teams, go to 32, be the NFL. ESPN's already your partner. They'll take every game. Just form your own, and then you have your self-governance too.
That's it. I mean, really bizarre times, but I mean, it's hard to disagree with the logic. You know, it's hard to, I mean, talking about Big 12, SEC, you already get the 2 best teams to come out of the Big 12. There seems to be migration anyway. We've seen it for decades now. Why not, right? I mean, they keep threatening it.
And self-governance then is easy. It's only 32 teams.
That's it.
One commissioner, Kirk Herbstreit, would be the commissioner. I mean, ESPN would integrate into it.
Yeah, somehow, right? They get their stamp in there. But, I mean, we keep playing around. We're going to end up in some type of world where that's a reality, not just a pipe dream.
Well, both the Big Ten and the SEC are talking about self-governance.
Sure.
They both did it. I mean, well, hold on. It won't be self-governance just for the 2 of them. Self-governance means each league would run itself. At that point, there's no way they can come together.
Right. They can't. And then what does championships look like? Right, like how is it gonna be like the AFL and NFL merger, and then Big Ten champion plays SEC champion for the true champion?
Well, then your leagues. Then it's exactly what I said.
Exactly.
You have to do. You can, and then somebody's gonna offer $1 billion for the 2 champs to play. But you still have to come up with your own champs. You just still have to do your own league schedule.
Sure.
There's no more Division 1.
Yeah.
It's 2 leagues,
and then everyone else loses. Right, like everyone else loses. So, I mean the subdivision football, which is like shout out to Holy Crosses of the world and UMass of the world, like what happens to them? They're just playing football for the love of the game because they're not winning championships.
Well, it can go back to what it was supposed to be. It was athletics was just supposed to be part of a complementary full education for a human.
Yeah,
where it's supposed to be both sides of who we are, the athletic and the academic side.
Well, when you get kids who got private jet sponsorships, I think we're a little too far gone.
From that version, yes. But to have a league for the private jet version is okay too.
Sure. I'm pro player in every aspect. Get your money, right? Go do what you got to do. Kids, they've been making money off your back for a long time. Do what you got to do.
One of the biggest problems I believe I've been talking sports and covering sports a long time. We have too many teams in D1.
Yeah.
You can't have North Texas competing with Alabama. You can't have New Mexico competing with A&M. And trying to create a system of governance and competition that includes both is a dumb idea.
Sure. Yeah.
They should not be competing together.
They're not even on the same. And that's part of the thing because, I came from the pro football, pro sport background where, like, I really had to learn what was great about college athletics, especially for a team and a program that's never going to win a championship. Right? Because what's the draw? It's just the camaraderie. It's the school. It's the pageantry. Because I grew up rooting for sports where, like, I felt like I had a chance to win a championship. There was hundreds of schools that go to games on Saturday knowing they'll never play for a championship. So, like, that's the part that it was hard for me to grasp. But if we're in a world where, like, the big shows are going to be playing the big shows, and I guess the simplicity in it is beautiful in the sense that, like, hey, there's levels to this, and if we understand the level, then maybe we can coexist.
Again, form your own league. Your non-con of football would be facing all those teams that have no chance.
Sure.
And everyone's okay. That's your practice games or whatever you want to call it. But they don't have to be in your league to play them.
No. I mean, so yeah, what is it? So they're already going to a 9-game schedule. In this theory, do they still keep the same way, where it's like 3 kind of cupcake games and then 9, and then we figure it out the same way, and just it's governed different? Is that the only difference? And so.
Well, you wouldn't be playing like the Big Ten in your non, but
sure,
you'd play North Texas.
Yeah,
you would play.
You play your in-state teams, maybe.
Yeah, because they'd still be down. They still need the paycheck.
Yeah.
You're going to pay them to play.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, Texas playing Texas State week 1? I mean, that could be an annual thing for these schools.
Yeah, and I'm playing like Sam, and because these three are quickly becoming completely irrelevant. They're just to sell season tickets.
Sure.
Look at all the games that have been canceled across the country.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
Really
of moving
weird
forward.
times. I mean, having this conversation, thinking about it 5 or 6 years ago, and where we're at now is mind blowing to me. Mind blowing.
Yeah, and there's so much more from there. Even the committee. What are you working on for Gig'Em 247?
Yeah, so I do. This will come out tomorrow morning. I kind of finished it up. Doing a preview of all 3 of the other regional teams. Just kind of give you an offensive, defensive kind of overview of them. Kind of who's the best hitters, who's the best pitchers. It's gonna be a one-stop shop. You can take a look at it. If you're at the game, you can see everything you need to know about these teams and all that. The history. Surprisingly, I mean, you get into a regional, you don't know who you're gonna get sometimes. They got history against Lamar. They got history against Texas State, and a little bit of history against USC too. So it's fun to kind of delve into that. But heavy baseball. I know Cade Drone over there, full-time recruiting guy. He's gonna have you everything you need to know about the OV visits and just a lot of the recruiting stuff. So we got heavy of that going on. But we got a little bit of everything, right? Some basketball stuff. So we're just keeping it locked.
Not going to ask you for any details because you spent your time writing. You want people to read it.
Sure.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is the regional?
It's tough. USC is a legitimate 2 seed. We had talked about it earlier. That's, if not the best 2 seed, one of the best 2 seeds. And Texas State, they've already beat you once this year on a midweek, right? So can't take them easy. They're a team that absolutely pounds the baseball, right? They don't call them Slam Marcos for nothing. So they hit home runs. USC pitches really well. Lamar is going to fight. I mean, you already beat them 25-5.
They're going to win for their coach who's going to U of H after this is done.
So that's something that, A&M, if it goes the way it should, they're more than talented to get out of this regional and represent and do what they got to do. But they can't take a single game lightly. I don't think there's any chance that they will, but this is tougher than probably, I would say, a bunch of the other regional hosts are going to face.
Dude, be awesome. Thank you always. It's great to see you.
Absolutely. You too.
Tony Catalina of Gig'Em 247. What's Twitter X?
Tony_Catalina.
He'll be back next Wednesday. Fingers crossed we're all doing this.
Yes, sir.
I'll be back with Bubba Bush of BVMM Fitness. He joins me on the Deep Land Services hotline. It's the Louis Bellina Show Wednesday on The Zone.
Oh, hello, friends. The Louis Bellina Show.
Nope, not today.
It might not be about the journey or the destination. Nobody really knows.
Wow, man.
Listen in weekdays 11 to 2 on The Zone.
The Zone.
A couple of times a month, we get to hang out with Bubba Bush. He's with BVMM Fitness. Bubba, what are you up to, dude?
What's up, Louie? Getting into the summer, chilling out, getting ready for summer camps, and working on switching over to Wise phones.
Wait. What are you switching over to?
In my personal life, get some Wise phones. You know what dumb phones are?
Well, I know what a smartphone is. After that, I got no clue about nothing else, brother.
So we all have smartphones now, and they're helping our lives and they're ruining our lives, right? And all the kids are having all these problems, messing up our dopamine loops, and they're dominating our lives, they're distracting from our children, all these things. And so people are going back to dumb phones. There's a big movement in Gen Z, and there's just a big movement in general. Kind of go back to dumb phones, get your flip phone out, and just not have all the distractions and the Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and at your fingertips at 24/7. And there's a thing called Wise phones, apparently. So my wife found.
Help me. What is a Wise phone?
It's a smartphone that doesn't do all the smartphone problem stuff. So you can still use Uber and Google Maps, and I can still get my G7, my diabetic monitor on there. Make phone calls, make texts, but you can't get YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and any of no internet browser. So you're just not in there browsing all day. You're only using it for what a phone was meant to be used for. They don't even let you get email on there. But that might be tough.
That was the one step too far.
Any excuse? I'm there, and I'm like, man, email is not a distraction for me. I gotta get email on there. You can call them and you can get certain things on there. They'll let you use WhatsApp and all that, but it's just It's a smartphone that they've got their own user interface software for to say we're going to block out. And then it makes it all black and white. It's only text. There's no colorful icons. All the things that companies use to bring us back. It just cuts them all out and says, here, get back to the important things in life. This is just a phone.
The Wise phone. I'd never heard. Okay, you're going to make me Google when I get off the air today. When I get done at 1 o'clock, so probably about 1:40, I think I'm going to be Googling Wise phones. I'm learning something today.
I'm not sponsored, but I'm a big fan.
Okay. I will check it out. You mentioned the summer camps, and I feel it's very important. We talked about it last time. They're starting up in June. You do like 4 of them, 2 in June, 2 in July, real quick or real slow. It's your call. But tell people again, please, what are these summer camps? Because I think they're awesome. I think the value, we live in a world where everything's too expensive. These are too cheap, in my opinion. What are your summer camps at BVMMA and Fitness?
Well, yeah, very much along the same lines. Talking about Wise phones and distracting from the important things, and so rather than sticking our kids in front of TVs and iPads for a week, we got an opportunity where $200 for a whole week. It's 40 hours. I think that's what you're talking about. It's like 40, 50 hours, so $4 to $5 an hour is what we kind of calculated out to. June 8th, June 22nd, July 13th. You can get them in there. We take them 7:30 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. and we're doing actual real-life interactive things, martial arts and crafts. So we will teach them some jiu-jitsu. We will teach them some kickboxing. It's not a fight camp where they're going to go in there and actually fight anybody, but they will learn some of the martial arts. And then the rest of the time, martial arts and crafts, we're doing water balloon fights. We're doing Nerf wars. We're doing race car driving, remote control race cars. We're doing coloring and cutting up activities. So we're doing different things that are going to be more engaging outside of that. But we're not on screens all day. They watch a 45-minute movie for lunch, and the rest of the time we're running around, playing kickball, playing dodgeball, just doing physically active things that get your kids tired and get them hanging out with friends and interacting in positive ways. So kind of old school mentality, enjoying the summer the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. So if you don't have anything for them to do, or you want a week off, or you just want them to have a really good time, or introduce them to martial arts in just a real easy dip your toe in the water sort of way, June 8th through the 12th, June 22nd through the 26th, July 13th through the 17th, 7:30 a.m. to 3:45 p.m. Drop them off early, pick them up late. So
the camps are all the entire week. You just heard 7:30 to like 4:30, so it's every day of the week, all week long. They take care of skills, fun, meet new friends, and again, $4 to $5 an hour for the entire day, for the entire week. Do something different, learn new skills, accidentally end up falling in love with something new. It is the camps, the summer camps at BVMMA and Fitness. And where can they go to sign up, get a phone number, email address, find more information?
Yeah, so BVMMA.com, all the information about anything you could ever want, BVMMA.com. There's a big events and announcements tab on the top, and that'll take you right to it. It's the only one up there right now. Summer camps, all 3 weeks. You can sign up and register right there.
BVMMA.com. That's like 5 letters. BVMMA.com. And you can get more information on the summer camps, but also what are they about? What are the classes they have? What's their schedule? Where are they located? I need an email address. I just want more info. BVMMA.com. BVMMA.com. Bubba, what else do you have cooking for the summer? You got the fights coming up. You got special classes coming up. Just, what else are you going to be working on?
We do. We have a few things. Raheem Kelsey's making his amateur debut on June 12th in San Antonio. So that's a cool thing. Get to go out there for that. Excited. We're headed up to Dallas June 20th for ADCC, the world's biggest no-gi grappling tournament. So we'll be up there participating in that. We've got a few internal events, like June 6th, we're doing a grind match. This is where you just roll for an hour straight, kind of the way you do.
Gosh.
Yeah, just a momentous occasion, something to work for, to put on your calendar at the end of the semester. And it's a rite of passage for sure, but self-paced, but you're still rolling for the straight hour. So those are fun. But, those sort of things. We do have a competition kids camp, which really only applies to someone who's already training jiu-jitsu. Everyone's welcome, but if you're training jiu-jitsu or wrestling, we are going to do a competition kids camp at the end of the summer, July 27th. and work on, clean and jerks with younger kids, the weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting movements with personal trainers, work on leg locks and jiu-jitsu, work on wrestling takedowns, work on very specific things for competitors that young kids won't often get exposed to. 8 to 15-year-olds aren't often training those things unless they're really serious about the sport. So, got a lot going on, a lot of fun stuff.
Not a lot of fun stuff. And what you heard Bubba say speaks to, at BVMMA and Fitness, you do all this training, but what's the point of training without kind of a payoff at the end? And at BVMMA and Fitness, that's why you heard in-house. There's a lot of competitions, and a lot of it was out of house too, for those that want to go to a higher order. And Bubba, again, you have these platforms, mottos, these things about, it's nice to train, but you want people to take what they learn at BVMMA and Fitness and then apply it to the world.
I just want it to be applicable. Absolutely. I want it to be useful. So I have seen some martial arts programs where you go in there and you learn some dances and it's cool, but I want it to apply to real life. If you actually get in a scrap, if you actually get in a situation that's you need it, I want it to be useful. And so competition is a great way to test that out. You're never just doing mitt work. You're never just doing a kata alone. You are working every day against someone who does not want you to succeed, in a sense, right? They want to stop and thwart what you're trying to accomplish, getting away, getting on top of them, submitting them. And so you're working it live. And that's just really useful, having that. Competition is a great way to have an objective measure of how well you're doing, where your gaps are. No one's just there affirming you and saying, hey, you're doing great, just keep it up. It's like, when push comes to shove, you can do it because you've seen yourself do it before. So I really love those objective metrics. And then even for things like weight loss, we talk a lot about how it's hard to just go get in a grind. Discipline beats motivation every time. You got to be consistent. But if you're just going and lifting weights, you're just going and doing CrossFit, you're just going and running, it gets pretty mundane. Whereas when you come into a room where it's jiu-jitsu or kickboxing and every match is different, every day is different, every day you're learning a new skill and you're focused on the skill, you're not thinking about the calories you're burning, you're not thinking about the work your muscles are doing as much, and the weight melts off as a kind of side effect of something you're pursuing outside of that. So that's really nice. You got a community and you're coming for them and you're coming for you and you're working towards the in-house tournament at the end of the summer. So yeah, we plan things like that. We have Jiu-Jitsu 101 going on right now, this week and next week, which is just an intro program for anyone who's kind of never heard of jiu-jitsu or never tried it out. Just come on in, and we got a coach and small private lessons to say, here's what it is, and here's how you get on board, and easy into the fundamental classes. And then 3 months from now, come August, we'll do an in-house tournament and just say, here, test it out. No punching, no kicking, no MMA, just jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling, moving around, trying submissions, trying to get out of positions, and say, hey, where are you at? How does this work? Let's see it live. So it's really nice to have those goals on the horizon to work towards, as opposed to just, man, I got to get on the treadmill again.
I said this back in the day. The greatest weight loss program I ever had was when I did MMA, when I did, all kinds of martial arts, because you're never one time ever thinking about losing weight, but you can't be that active. You can't be mixed martial arts is like the original CrossFit before they even had that word in the English language, okay? You're just working every muscle group and you're doing the cardio. You're doing it all at once and never thinking about that part, but man, you can't help but do it.
Very much, and for sure. And man, like when I was in fight camps, I'll tell you what, I never think about like weight loss or exercising while you're doing the martial arts, but outside of training, I thought about it a lot. Every time I pick up, the wrong thing to eat, I go, yeah, I don't want to feel bad tomorrow in tomorrow's session. I don't want to be stuck in that position and be going, man, I wish I hadn't had that to eat for lunch. So yeah, it does help outside of that. At least it helped me a lot.
Oh, it changed my life. It helped me tremendously. Again, weight loss without ever once thinking about your weight is kind of fun and cool.
Yes, absolutely.
It is hard to do. And Bubba, what are the hours over at BVMMA and Fitness? People like, I can only do this time. I can only do that time. What are the hours?
Yeah, we solved that problem. We start early and we work late. So 6 a.m. Every day of the week, we have classes, jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. Noon, we have jiu-jitsu every day. We have evening classes starting as early as 5:30 for kids and adults, 6:30, 7:30, all evening. We have other classes as well on the website. You can go check out, like homeschool. A lot of homeschool kids are done with school by noon, So 1 p.m. we have a PE class for homeschool. It's a jiu-jitsu for homeschool kids. So I'm welcome to come in the evening as well. But we have a big homeschool community, so they're doing that. And there's just a lot going on. Noon classes every day of the week. If you want to sneak out at lunch, get some jiu-jitsu in, and go back to work. So
holy cow! Did you say
and all
every
that too.
day? Like every day, every day?
Yep, every day, Monday through Friday. And then Sunday we're closed. Closed on Sundays.
That's
but
why
we do
I
have
had to check.
Saturday morning open gym, open mat, and the gym is open too. So we do have a full gym, a full kind of do-it-yourself CrossFit gym, boxes and racks and weights and rowing machines and assault bikes and treadmills and everything else that you could ever need. Iron necks and kettlebells. We have all that, and it's open anytime the gym is open. It's all included, so you can always come work out if you just want to work out.
It's an awesome freaking gym, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome
really good.
gym.
It's a good place for families because we have one parent working out while the other one's doing kickboxing while the kids are doing jiu-jitsu, and whole family's working out at the same time. It's efficient. It's togetherness. It's good.
BVMMA.com. You can check out their schedule. Get the phone number. Get the email address. Check out the events like the upcoming, the summer camps for your kids. Best deal steal out there. And starts coming up June. It's right around the corner. 3 camps coming up this summer. BVMMA.com. Do not forget the address. It's the website, but still, BVMMA.com. Bubba, go be awesome, brother. It always brings a smile to my face to say hi. Big fan of what you do for the community, what you do for people. BVMMA.com. Be good, brother.
I appreciate you, Louis. Have a great summer.
Yep, you too. Later, man. Bubba Bush of BVMMA.com. Well, that's the website of BVMMA and Fitness. Bubba Bush joining us on the D4 Land Services Hotline. Most guests of the Louis Bellina Show. Many guests. That's a better way of putting it. Many guests join us on the D4 Land Services Hotline. If you ever look for some forestry, mulching, pond construction, maybe a metal building, a custom metal building from the ground up, go check out d4landservices.com. d4landservices.com.
You can hear Aggie Baseball online at radioaggieland.com. radioaggieland.com.
A couple of notes before we head out the door. One, Tony Catalina and I completely realized within seconds of each other, he was here, we hung out and, went to the timeout and it's like, hey man, be good. And within seconds, we both realized we did not do our Bluebell ice cream reviews. Tomorrow, and this is hilarious, tomorrow, we're going to call Tony 5 minutes and we will get our Bluebell ice cream review. I'm not going to let it go. We both started laughing. It's like, oh man, we forgot. I forgot. He didn't forget. We have to. He reviewed the black raspberry fudge. It's a flavor they released just last week. He didn't even try the flavor except he showed up here, last week on a Thursday, and they released the flavor on Thursday. And the Bluebell people are kind enough to bring some up for Brian Broadcasting. And his reaction was instantaneous. So tomorrow, Tony Catalina, he'll stop by again for a moment, but we forgot to do it, but we will get his ice cream review. We're not letting a week go by without it. So, we looked at each other and both started laughing. It's like, no, we did. But it's not a spoiler. Bluebell ice creams, and it was just released last week, Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to give him a call, maybe 5 minutes, but black raspberry fudge ice cream review from Tony Catalina. No. We're not going to go a week without it. He does one each week, and normally it's when he's with us. He was just with us. I forgot. I'm an idiot. It's on me. As we head out the door on the Wednesday edition of the Louis Bellina Show, this day in history, May 27th, in 1957, 69 years ago, Buddy Holly released That'll Be the Day, and it was his only number one hit. He died 2 years later in a plane crash. 49 years ago in 1957, 49 years ago in 1977, Smokey and the Bandit was released. Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, Sheriff Buford T. Justice. And finally, back in the day, all of 4 years ago in 2022, May 27th, 2022, Top Gun Maverick was released. And if you didn't cry in the Maverick and Goose scene in Top Gun Maverick, I can't help you. Give your man card back. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace, everybody.